For the last 40 years, The Legend of Zelda has introduced some of gaming's most memorable villains. From demon kings and dark sorcerers to chaotic gods capable of destroying reality itself. Not every villain threatens Hyrule in the same way. Some want power, some want revenge, and some just want to watch the world burn. So today, we're ranking every major mainline Zelda villain based on one simple question. How dangerous was their plan towards Hyrule? Starting our list off in the last place spot, we have Lady Maud. Lady Maud cursed Princess Styla with an ugly outfit, throwing the fashion-obsessed kingdom of Hytopia into chaos. And that was it. Her goal was essentially petty revenge and social humiliation. Compared to demon kings and the world-ending monsters we have later in the list, this barely affects Hyrule at all, which makes her easily the least dangerous villain in the series. Next up, we have a bit of an interesting entry. While researching this video, I discovered that a great deal of the mainline game's villains' plans are just bring back Ganondorf, bring back Ganondorf, bring back Ganondorf. So I'm just gonna go ahead and rapid fire these next few and no, that's why. In 12th, there's Zant. He was able to take over the Twilight Realm and began his invasion on Hyrule, but not a singular ounce of that was due to his own power. His entire plan only worked because Ganondorf wanted it to. Number 11 will go to Girahim because of two reasons. Firstly, his power is his own. Everything we see him do in-game is not on borrowed power. And secondly, he actually succeeds. His whole plan hinged on capturing Zelda so he could revive/unseal Demise, and he did exactly that, which gives him the edge over Zant. Entering the top 10, we're starting with Onyx from Oracle of Seasons. In Oracle of Seasons, the armored warlord Onyx kidnaps Din, the Oracle of Seasons. With Din gone, the entire land of Holodrum falls into environmental chaos. Seasons spiral out of control, crops fail, natural disasters begin to spread, but Onyx's goal is to ignite the flame of destruction, which, you guessed it, is just another ritual to revive Ganon. A dangerous plan, but still part of a larger scheme. Following Onyx very closely in the number 9 spot is Varin from Oracle of Ages. I'm confident putting Varin over Onyx for a few reasons. If Onyx was destruction, then Varin is sorrow. In Oracle of Ages, Varin possesses Nehru, the Oracle of Ages, and begins manipulating time itself. By altering the timeline, she causes centuries of suffering, and her ultimate goal is to ignite the flame of sorrow, another step towards resurrecting Ganon. To wrap up the Revive Ganon plans on this list, we'll move into number 8, where I have Yuga from A Link Between Worlds. Yuga's plan veers away from the last few entries in one key way. Yuga intends to revive Ganon in order to fuse with him, allowing the power necessary to rule over both Hyrule and Lorule. The reason Yuga is the Revive Ganon plan highest on the list is for two reasons. He actually succeeds in the fusion with Ganon, and even before that point, proved to be troublesome with his ability. I haven't described it yet, but his ability allows him to turn people into 2D art, and if they're in a picture frame, then they're trapped there, and he's able to easily run off with them. This makes Yuga a huge threat when his whole plan is kidnapping the descendants of the sages. In spot number 7, I place Bellum from Phantom Hourglass. To be honest, Phantom Hourglass is not a title I've ever revisited or sunk time into learning about, so my knowledge on Bellum is a bit lacking. However, I believe he's a real contender for the number 7 spot. Rather than being an all-powerful warlord or a demon king, Bellum is a much more passive threat, not even really making an appearance until Link and Linebeck find a petrified Tetra. I think it's exactly this that makes him a bit more of a threat than the previous entries. Bellum's goal is to deplete the world's life force. He was luring people in with rumors of treasure and using his minions to complete his work. Throughout the story, he's slowly growing stronger and stronger until the final confrontation. Moving to number 6, I have Vaati. Vaati began as a simple Minish apprentice, but his obsession with power turned him into one of Hyrule's most dangerous sorcerers. Across the Legend of Zelda, the Minish Cap, Four Swords, and Four Swords adventures, Vaati repeatedly attempts to conquer Hyrule and obtain the Light Force. The reason I have Vaati here is the continued appearances. A villain that persists is inherently more dangerous than a one-off bad guy. Vaati, like Ganon, appears as both a humanoid and a monstrous creature. When Vaati is in the monstrous form, he gains the ability to fly and infuse electricity into his attacks, and can only be defeated by the Four Swords. If he had succeeded, he could have become a magical tyrant rivaling Ganondorf himself. For my number 5 spot, I've chosen the Nightmares from Link's Awakening, and hear me out on this one. At first glance, it seems like a small-scale issue, but I believe these things could be extremely dangerous to Hyrule, not to mention the effects these creatures could potentially have on Hyruleans' minds. Something I think is underratedly messed up is they directly tell Link, if you wake up the Windfish, you'll destroy the island, which is not a lie. Since the island is a construction of the Windfish's dreams, it would cease to exist if awoken. I can only imagine the turmoil a person would go through when presented with this ethical issue. With the nightmares, reality has the potential to become a prison. For my fourth spot, I have a compromise. There are obviously too many Ganons and Ganondorfs to fit into this format, so I've chosen two, and my first selection fits right into the fourth spot. In Tears of the Kingdom, Ganondorf is a beast, and I think it's fair to say he's the strongest we've seen him in the series to date. There are plenty of different examples of him being a problem for Hyrule over hundreds and thousands of years. This Ganondorf has two different bestial forms, in his malice boar and dragon. His hatred alone required Zelda's full attention for 100 years before she started to slip. He is the only other enemy in the game who can perform a flurry rush against Link. He's well versed in a multitude of different weapons. However, there's not any point where this version wins, and maybe that's because our heroes got stronger in comparison too, but out of all the Ganondorfs, there is one that succeeds. Technically. And that brings us to our number 3 spot. After manipulating the royal family and gaining access to the Sacred Realm, Ganondorf obtains the Triforce of Power and transforms Hyrule into a dark, ruined kingdom. For 7 years, he ruled uncontested, corrupting the land and turning familiar places like Hyrule Castle into strongholds for darkness. Few Zelda villains ever come this close to total victory, which immediately places this version of Ganondorf among the most dangerous threats to the kingdom. This incarnation is also one of the few to have fully obtained the Triforce. After doing so, we're shown his proficiency in magic and weapon combat. Under his rule, monsters flood Hyrule, entire regions fall to ruin, and powerful figures like the sages are hunted down before they can awaken. By the time Link returns as an adult, Ganondorf has already reshaped the kingdom into a world built around himself. In second place is Majora. Majora manipulates Skull Kid and begins pulling the moon down toward the world of Termina. Unlike many Zelda villains who spend their time gathering power or preparing rituals, Majora's plan is already in motion from the start of the game. Within just 3 days, the moon will crash into the world and destroy everything. That level of immediate, unavoidable catastrophe makes Majora one of the most dangerous threats the series has ever seen. What makes Majora especially terrifying is its chaotic and unpredictable nature. Many Zelda villains seek domination and power, but Majora appears to act purely out of cruelty and destruction. Majora is ranked in my number 2 spot because it wants none of that. Entire regions fall into despair, the environment becomes hostile, and the people of Termina slowly realize that the end of the world is coming. Majora's influence isn't just physical, it's psychological, creating a sense of dread that spreads across the land for what seems like no greater reason than why not. In my number 1 spot for the most dangerous Zelda villain, I have Demise. Demise started it all, and it just doesn't feel right to put him anywhere other than the top. Demise is a god, plain and simple. It required Hylia and an army of all the surface races just to fend him and his army off, let alone seal him. In Skyward Sword, Demise represents a level of power that no other villain in the series has truly matched. His mere existence threatens the balance of the world, forcing the goddess Hylia to sacrifice her divine form in order to protect the Triforce and give Hyrule a chance to survive. But what makes Demise truly terrifying isn't just his raw strength, it's the curse. Even after Link defeats him, Demise leaves behind a curse fueled by his hatred. The curse ensured that his malice would never truly disappear from the world. According to Demise, his hatred would be reborn again and again, taking new forms throughout history to oppose the spirit of the hero and the bloodline of the goddess. This curse becomes the foundation for the entire conflict of the Zelda series. Villains like Ganondorf, and a few others, are essentially manifestations of that ancient hatred. In other words, every major battle for Hyrule's survival can be traced back to Demise. He didn't just threaten the world once, he created an endless cycle of darkness that continues for generations. And that's what makes Demise not just the strongest villain in Zelda, but the most dangerous one the world will continue to face.